Hi everyone, welcome to the Auckland Tuatara offices. We're going to conduct a little bit of a season review. This is the Auckland Tuatara media team, Budge, Austen, McMurchy. Austen, it's great to have you out here for what has been the whole summer and a few weeks leading into the start of the campaign. Let's review the season as a whole to start with. We'll get into some more specific things a little bit later on, but as a rating out of 10, how would you assess how the Tuatara have gone their first season?
Realistically, for me, it's a 7 or 8. Really, because as an expansion team, you got to go in with, the expectations as an expansion team. And honestly, I thought we played some great baseball. Maybe let down by a little consistency at times, but at our best, it was really just a great year.
Yeah, I thought really good expansion season. Typical expansion side, as you said, lacked a little bit of consistency.
You don't want to use that as an excuse, but you have to acknowledge that's what it is. It's year one.
You're playing against teams, for the majority, that have been part of this league for 8 years. You've got hardened seasoned pros that you know what you're going to get from year to year. For this franchise, they didn't know what the core group was going to be able to achieve. Most of these players haven't played at this level consistently before, and so when you look at the individual performances, particularly from the Kiwi guys, I think we've seen.
I think that was a definite highlight of the season coming in. There were going to be Kiwi guys on the team always, because that's one of the main points of this team is to build baseball in this country, and they came in just as role players, and they came out as established parts of the team in an ideal world, they'll all be back and they'll be key parts of the team going forward. Yeah,
you look at the likes of Daniel Lamb Hunt, Max Brown, Bo Bishop, those guys have all tasted ABL baseball before, but never really sort of cemented themselves as what we call everyday players. Not only were they everyday players with the Tuatara, they were some of the best players in the league. You look at the record would suggest that they were as were strong campaigners right throughout the course of the season. So I think a huge win in that regard. A 14-26 record. There were probably half a dozen games where Steve Mintz, the manager, will tell you that they let slip. They were there for the taking.
It was a record that could have been a lot better, but it in no way could have been any worse. I didn't feel like we cheated a team out of any games. All the games we won were hard fought games that we deserved to win, and it was great to see when they did close those out. It made it even more taste a little better.
The comparison, I guess, with the fellow expansion side, Geelong Korea, they had 7 wins, half as many wins as the Tuatara. Tuatara, a peg behind the other Australian sides, but within touching distance. You certainly think Adelaide, they were within touching distance of competing, and you'd think that there's now enough of a platform for them to build on. So come season 2019-20, I imagine the goal will be playoff baseball, surely.
And looking at roster breakdown, it was great to see players from all around the world. It was a really multicultural team, and the team really got along well. Everyone from all different parts. There was Dragon and Itchy and all the players. And
you say that every team says they get along as a culture, and of course you say that publicly, but this team really did.
We can say firsthand, we were in the room all the time, just fly on the wall.
It was it really was a very happy team. It's a credit to Steve Mintz and the coaching staff for putting together and a culture and an outfit that enjoyed each other's company, particularly when you think there was a 40-day road trip in there.
You have to enjoy each other's company, and they most definitely did.
What do you think the key learnings are in terms of the roster management for next season when you look at what they might do, what the Tuatara might do in terms of tweaking the roster? And we talked about the core group of Kiwi guys. What else have we sort of learned from season 1?
I think the core group of Kiwi guys proved that they can go out and look in other areas for international players coming in, and with this league, it's so important to have 4 solidified starters that really can carry the team and those things. So I think pitching is really something that you got to look for and really establish going forward. Be amazing to see Cole Mentor back in an ideal world. That would be awesome, because he was he really found his groove, and he really was a leader both on and off the field for the team.
Just consummate professional in everything he did, the way he prepared, the way he obviously played out on the field. And, being able to put aside when the errors, you think of that first series in Perth when there were some pretty ordinary errors being made by the team behind him, and he could sort of put that distraction to one side, still produce the kind of baseball that you'd expect.
And talking to a lot of the younger players, they said just talking to him, throwing with him, it was just invaluable. They learned so much from him as to be a professional, to be a baseball player, and just to be a good guy.
It's a very strange mix in an Australian Baseball League team, because you've got a core group of locals, and I guess now the Tuatara have their Kiwi contingent. You've got the group of affiliate players that are coming down from the United States that are being paid by their professional organisations to come down and work on certain things, and so managing that dynamic is not straightforward, because they're obviously down here to get better for what lies ahead. Come February, March when they head back to the United States. So or Asia for that matter. So you've got those players that are working on things, then you've got other guys that are free agents, independent guys that are looking for contracts, and they'll bust their backside.
They're going to do everything.
Brandon Martin. And
how
good was he?
That was a real success story of the season, really, you can say, because that's one of the main points of leagues like this, is to find players, like find that diamond in the rough and develop them. And I think it was great moving forward that we proved in year one that the team was able to do that. So that really builds our credibility for other players who look at the Auckland Tuatara as a viable option, as a stepping stone towards the major league and affiliated ball.
Yeah, well, see, Brandon Martin came from college. He, wasn't drafted, so he comes out as an undrafted player, looking for an opportunity to play professional baseball. Got his first taste here with the Tuatara. He was tremendous from the get-go. Yeah. Again, you talk about professionalism. He was fantastic off the diamond. Was prepared to pitch under any circumstance.
He just wants
to play baseball, and
to see.
Was hands down the best reliever on the team. Earns himself now a contract with a major league franchise, signing with the Kansas City Royals. We'll have more on that in due course, but it's going to be exciting to follow him and see how he goes. And I think now we probably see that as a little bit of a blueprint of what the franchise might look to do, particularly with pitching. When they put
it was great for him. It was like he honestly he went in at the start of the year with no team showing any interest in him, and coming out of the year with multiple teams, and he got to, in the end, kind of make an informed decision. It wasn't just the first one he accepted. He was able to be a commodity that they wanted.
Yeah, it was amazing. All right, let's talk about some highlights. We'll talk about the key things that stand out when we go through it. What was the best play? I mean, if you were... if we're talking...
Defensively, probably would have to be that Taylor Snyder play.
The Dirigito run over
in Melbourne, I guess it was.
Last series.
Yeah, that was super great play.
He had a couple of those too.
He did. He had a lot of those. There's one I know early in the year where he backhanded it, and it was like an even nicer pickup, but he just bobbled it for a second, and he threw, and he made the play. It was just a little late because that bobble, and you just saw it, and you're like, you knew he had that in his locker, and you're hoping to see it later.
He certainly had some highlight plays when you think of his home runs too. He had a bunch of home runs, a couple of really good ones too. What else? Any other plays that stand out?
There was the play from Luke Hansen, the diving play on a bunt. It was an extra innings against Brisbane.
Yes.
And that was just a super play, especially when you think about the situation it was in and how important that was. Him just charging in from third base and making a diving play on that.
So this is the one that they game into extra innings and had the runners starting on second and first.
The extra inning rule. So any bunt that gets down is crucial, and he just snuffed it out and pops up and was ready to throw.
Was he one of the great success stories of Luke Hansen? A guy who was really a fringe player from the get-go and was fighting to get a spot on the roster.
Played all around the infield, which was great to see.
Yeah.
Those sort of players they're becoming a lot more valued in baseball now. Those can play in almost any position, can slot in. Because if you follow the Tuatara throughout the year, you'll notice the lineup. It was a core group of guys, but it was changing around a lot. You would go, it was very platooned in a sense. So you had players playing different positions when it was facing a righty versus lefty. And it was great to see that they could just seamlessly do that. There was no player playing out of position to facilitate the lineup. We could always fit a plus defender in.
We're going to have some season awards coming up over the next few days. We'll do some social media things so fans of the team can vote on who they thought were hitter of the year and pitcher of the year and that sort of thing. And then the franchise will announce its overall player of the year in just over a week's time. So let's start throwing out a few names. When we look at the season ahead, we'll start with the hitting. Who stood out? Who are the contenders, I guess, for our hitter of the year?
We got the stats up here, and it's amazing to see, Daniel Lamb was consistent throughout the entire year. Yeah. Finished the year with a 282 average, which is amazing.
Joint lead of the RBI tally, I think, too.
Yes.
19. So
another one that for me, just not even looking at the stats, but just the eye test, was Max Brown. He just was his consistency through
across
the year.
The board,
in the field, batting, clutch at bats, hitting for power, and just and his speed for a tall guy like that. You don't expect to see the speed. He was flying on the base paths. So that was great to see. In terms of pitching, you got to go.
I think Zach Clark probably too. We should throw Zach Clark into the mix.
In terms of pure power.
Took a little while to get going. Zach,
you called it at the beginning. You were always, you just keyed in on his power.
He looked so good in some of the practice runs we had in Auckland before the team went off on its pre-season tour and whatnot.
Yeah, and by the end of the season, you could see it. He was in hitting form, and that, that's ideal because he's going back to his affiliate team. So again, that's another thing that we proved we could, from this league, get those guys, get their eye in, and hopefully they all want to come back next year and even more affiliate players or wherever it comes from.
All right, you touch on it, pitching. I mean, Colementor obviously
Colementor was
front of things.
Glugoski was another huge success
Absolutely
story.
lights out in the early days. The limited opportunities that he had, and
when he went on the mound, you knew you had a chance to win no matter what. It was him and Colementor were amazing in that. And also, Jimmy Boyce, he was just grinding it out.
Show it, will it? The wins loss.
No, his record.
Show how
he deserves better than that. He was just really good all year. He just grinded it out. The amount of innings he pitched, even when he was he didn't have his A stuff, he was able just to work through multiple innings, which really saved our bullpen, which in the long term made a huge difference. And he pitched in every series, the only pitcher to do that.
Lion-hearted, I think.
Yeah, it was just superb.
Bullpen arms, I guess Markland.
Big one.
We've touched on him as an obvious candidate. Yuki Harada, so kind of reflects the whole team in a way. The up and down nature.
When Yuki was on, he was lights out. When he was on, he was lights out. It was just it was a little inconsistency. Was the only concern from him, but you saw his stuff was amazing.
Nasty. That slider was nasty.
It was just consistency for him. Holtzcomb was amazing for the limited time we had him. It was great to see that just power arms just. So nice to have coming out of the bullpen, and just the intimidation factor.
He's just a good guy too, good team guy. Again, stats won't show it all, but he played a key role with some of the younger players, acted as pitching coach on a couple of occasions, I think.
Yeah.
So a guy that I'm sure has a huge off the diamond future whenever that time comes, and let's hope we see a bit more of John
Speaking of off the diamond future, how was Colementor as commentating in some of those games?
Yeah, he was pretty impressive, wasn't he?
He was very good.
All right, we better start thinking about next season. What are the key things that the Tuatara are going to want to do different? What are the key lessons they've learned, I guess, this season that they'll implement for 1920?
I think we talked about it before, but the key to pitching, really just getting a solid starting four, that is just so important in this league, and being able to look anywhere for it. Yes. You got to find those guys anywhere. So it'll be a tough job finding those guys in independent ball, just out there in Germany and wherever it may be. But, I mean, I think all the foundation's been set, so it's not like, oh no, we got to find a whole team. It's just there's so many solid players from New Zealand that you're going to have back that it's nice you can go position by position and just look for what you need.
So I know that there's already been some talk about manager Steve Mintz wanting to come back and have a second year in charge, and I'm sure that discussion will take place in the not too distant future, and we'll have an announcement on that shortly.
And I know many of the affiliated players in their own mind would like to come back. Whether that plays out with their organisation, we'll see. But it's nice to know from them personally that they had a great time.
Yeah, it's certainly nice knowing that all the players that were here this year would love to come back and have another crack. And
I know Brandon Markland said the same. Again, now that he's an affiliate ball, it's not up to him anymore, but he knows he would love to come back.
So we will follow their progress. We'll follow the progress of the Tuatara players over the coming months. There will be announcements as players are re-signed that will take place a lot earlier. In fact, I think there are some discussions taking place at the moment, but not say any more. But watch the space, so you can follow that via the Auckland Tuatara website and social media channels. Austen, you're basically out visiting for the summer.
Yes.
How have you enjoyed this experience?
I've loved every minute. As a baseball nut myself, it's great to be around the sport. And I mean, my family's originally from New Zealand, so it just all came together that got to work for a baseball team in New Zealand. Probably didn't expect that, but it's just so great to be here.
Mate, it's been fantastic having you. You'll see more of his work at least anyway over the coming weeks. But as I say, keep following the social media channels and
Instagram,
the website, Twitter, Facebook.
And the YouTube channel, which this will be going up on. So.
And thanks for your support. We'll see you again in 2019-20.
Thank you for being a part of Tuatara Nation.